Ladies and gentlemen, boys, the cold opening, didn't I?
Welcome to Before the Freak
Can't do
Out.
that. Can't do that straight away. This episode of Before the Free Count is sponsored by WrestleCrate. WrestleCrate, the number one subscription box for all wrestling fans around the United Kingdom. Use code BTTC right now to get a free box with your first subscription. That's a free box with your also first box every month. So two for the price of one. Can't do bad there.
Are you ready?
We are Before the Freak Out. Wrestling for the fans, by the fans. Your number one place for wrestling news, rumors, and all things wrestling. Charlie and Callum are two regular guys that met at a wrestling convention and now are bonded for life.
Not word bonded.
And now they talk about wrestling in their spare time.
We're back. New series. This is Before the Free Count. And this is the road to WrestleMania. So come along for the ride. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back yet again to Before the Free Count. My name is Charlie, and I'm joined yet again by my co-host. It is Mr. Callum Jamie Hunt. How are we doing, Callum?
Very, very well. Very, very, very well.
I realised my mic was incredibly loud then, so I do apologise to people. If you can hear a bit of jingling about this week, I'm in a different location, so if you're watching the vlog, you'll be able to see I'm holding the mic for once. But that's because I don't have my tripod with me to hold it, so I do apologise for that. And Callum's not on screen because he's got to also be filming from a different location this week. So it's a bit of a strange one for us this week, so we do apologise if it does affect the quality, but we are here and we are keen to crack on. Callum, how's your week been?
Very, very good. Very hard working. I've been at work and all that sort of thing, and um, you know, uh, things happen in my personal life, but for the good, for the good. And in terms of wrestling, I've very much caught up with it, kept up with it, and everything seems to be spicing up in the world of professional wrestling. Um, just announced today, and this may be a side piece from WrestleMania, but when we talk about um, Revolution Pro Wrestling, they've also announced two events: the Revolution Rumble and the anniversary show, which pre-sales will be out the 28th of February. It's very tempting to buy
And
tickets
that's a
for
bank
that.
holiday weekend, if I'm correct. That was announced today, about 2 hours before we went on air, if I'm right. I did see it myself.
Yeah.
Was
So
that correct,
how are
though?
you? How are you feeling about this season at the moment, Charlie? How are you feeling about it all?
I think it's doing really well. One thing I'm going to say on the uh oh, I always forget their names. I'm so sorry. You just mentioned the event for them. Rev Pro? Is it Rev Pro?
Yes, Rev
Yeah.
Pro,
Yeah. And what's the event called again?
the anniversary, and then the
Why do I think it
Revolution
was called
Rumble.
Wrestle Kingdom? That's another bloody promotion. I know it is. Um, that's the New Japan thing, Wrestle Kingdom. So I apologize about that. No, Rev Pro's anniversary show. We've been a couple of times to them. They've been absolutely brilliant. First time ever they're doing two shows over the bank holiday weekend. I think I know why they're having to do that, by the way.
Yeah. And why do you think that is, Charlie?
Because it's already been clearly leaked that one of the big stars that they've got signed to come over for that event, even though this is in August and we're talking about this in February, contracts for stuff like this, they get signed a long, long time ago in advance. One of the people that they've got signed that I think a lot of people are aware of is they've actually got Mercedes Moné on it's got to be a 6 month deal. She got the title in January, didn't she? So it's
Yeah, I
got
mean
to be a
that's a
six
huge,
months.
that's
Yeah,
a
January,
marquee.
February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Isn't eight? That might even be like a 10 month deal actually, or nine. I've never heard of an 8 month deal, so it might go. Yeah, it makes sense because it's the bank holiday weekend, so it is a 9 month deal. So Mercedes Moné will be there. I think that's why they've got to do two events because I know she is not a cheap person to book for these events. So fair play for them for getting them. Um, but yeah, there's two nights. I would be very hesitant to be one of those people that buys a ticket for only one night there. Because even though it's a completely different thing to WrestleMania, it is one of those things, especially in the UK, Rev Pro, it's like the anniversary show is not they always pull out the big guns. They've had some amazing people there before. The last year we were there, they had Soraya, they had Rio, sorry. I'm trying to think, did they have I want to say it was Grado and it weren't. By the way, that annoyed me so much. The one year we don't go to for the love of wrestling, Grado shows up in the Royal Rumble. Do you know how annoyed that was for me? Love that guy so much. Big shout out to him. Um, who was there last year that shocked a lot of people? It was someone else. What was it? Simon Miller?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was someone else like that. He was there. But they get some really, really cool people at these events. We went to I know we spoke about this the weekend we went. It was like the second or third podcast we did. Was we went to Will Ospreay's last match at Rev Pro. And because he was being signed to, as he now is, to AEW, there was quite a lot of AEW talent there. Darby Allin was there, Orange Cassidy was there, and the big man himself, Tony Khan. So, and that was at like his final show. It weren't like massive. I was saying that he's being held at the same place, from what I can see. So I'm trying to tell myself, I'm trying to work out myself, which venue is bigger? Is it the one? Is because I know the venue they've announced for the anniversary show this year was the one that we went to for the Will Ospreay last match. But is that bigger than the one at Olympic Park? So I'm
It
quite
could
shocked that
be.
they've gone back to that one for a 2 night event. I thought it would have been the other one that was bigger because that looked more like an arena than uh
Wait, where? Hold on. Where is it again? The
it's
new
the
one?
one that we went. I'm really bad with the name, but it was the one that we went to for Will Ospreay's last match. It's like a sports center stadium thing,
Oh, it is Crystal Palace.
Crystal
No,
Palace
so
Stadium.
so so yeah, it isn't. It isn't
By
as
the way,
big
just to
as
say,
the one
sorry,
we went
Callum,
to.
just to say before people may get confused and go, Jesus Christ, I've got that for 2 nights. It's not actually Crystal Palace Football Club Stadium. Just need to make
No,
you aware
it's
of
kind
that.
of
It's
like a
not the
sports center.
football stadium. It's
Let's.
the indoor stadium.
It isn't the biggest though. You're right. I mean, the thing is, actually, it's quite small. It's even smaller than York Hall, I think.
Yeah, which is why I'm quite shocked that if they're doing 2 nights, why wouldn't you just do 2 nights there? It's bigger, and you know they could sell it out. They've done it before, and maybe that is why they've gone small. Is because they don't know if they could sell it out 2 nights.
Mm.
But I don't
But
know. I
let's
don't even
just
know what I'm
say,
doing that time of the year because I know at the end of us recording this, you're going to go. So am I booking it? Are we going? Are we going? I can't say genuinely. We will definitely be there one of the nights. I think that's almost a guarantee for us.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Doing 2 nights though. Thing is, you don't really know what's going on because there's no AEW in town this year. Well, that we're aware of. But even so, oh, is that why they've changed the venue? I've just realised something. So, from what we've heard and what was leaked, Forbidden Doors being done at the O2 or Wembley this year, isn't it?
It's. I think it's happening at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah,
Wembley, not
Arena,
stadium. Sorry, arena.
Arena.
Yeah, arena.
Yeah. So, is that one closer
Yeah.
to Wembley Arena? No,
What
surely it
the?
wouldn't be. It
No, I don't
wouldn't
think it
be
is.
because when we went to yeah, yeah, because last year it was close to Wembley Stadium because of All In. So unless
Do you
if
know
they
what?
are going to
Also,
the O2,
and do you know what also feels weird? On a side subject of things we usually do together, we didn't go to the Flubber Wrestling Convention, which feels
I
strange.
know that was weird. We didn't go
Yeah,
this year. First time in 2 years I ain't gone to that. And there was to
3
people that
years for
went,
me. Yeah.
let us know how you thought of it. It looked brilliant. There was some absolute legends there. Jake the Snake, Sting was there. They had one of my favourites of all time, Mick Foley. Who else was there? Mark Henry. They basically had the whole APA. So JBL was there as well. What are they called? Nation of Domination. All of them were there, minus was Booker T. No, he was in the Harlem Heat, weren't he? I always get them two confused. Um, and all of the Nation of Domination were there, obviously minus Dwayne Johnson, which was a really cool photo op. Oh, Great Munter was there as well. Sonny. They had a really good lineup this year. We couldn't make it just because of Vegas, and I had a lot to do that weekend as well. I think you had quite a bit going on at the weekend as well. It looked fantastic. From what I saw, it looked absolutely brilliant. Also, I was big props out because I don't think these guys, particularly that work for Monopoly, get enough of a shout out. The people that build the props and the sets there, just a quick thing, I've got to give them full props this year. They went full on with the WCW theme. They even rebuilt the massive metal WCW sign, and I thought that looked brilliant. They had some really, really cool sets. They had the APA office with the fake door, but there's nothing around it, and card game set up. I thought that was brilliant. There's a few really, really cool things this year. But yeah, that was happening this weekend, and then it's flowing quite well today, isn't it? Just quickly thought I'd touch on I haven't watched it before people have a go at me. So I know we get a bit of heat with this for not talking about them, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. AEW had their first show in Australia. How do you think it went, Callum?
What?
Grand Slam. I believe that's what it was called.
Well, I think it went very well. Is it heating up as much as I want it to be? Maybe not, but I think it really will kick into gear.
Yeah.
What about your thoughts on that?
I thought it looked like it went okay, but from what I've heard, it was very mixed reactions within the arena itself. Some people saying that Tony got booed. I was saying it's rubbish. Some people were very angry that and I would be. Fair play to them that the original event for this was announced as a pay-per-view, which it technically still was. Technically, oh, we'll get into that in a bit. And two, it was supposed to originally be in a stadium. And because ticket sales, I had to cut it down to an arena, which that's I know it's happened to WWE before. It happened a couple of years ago, when they were doing the Royal Rumble, or was it Money? No, it was Money in the Bank. It was Money in the Bank. I think that was it was Money in the Bank, and that was when they were going to Vegas. It was supposed to be at MetLife Stadium, and it had to change to the MGM Arena in Vegas. That was the year Austin Theory won. My knowledge tonight is absolutely, I'm on it tonight. That had to change, and then, or was it that? No, it was definitely Money in the Bank. So I know Cody did. It was the year that Cody came back because he did the promo for it, and it was filmed in the stadium. I remember that so clearly. Anyway, going back to what we were saying. So yeah, it went from that to a stadium to an arena, which the other thing was they advertised it as a pay-per-view. Was it really? I don't think it was. I think it was kind of an overhyped. What's it called? What's the Friday night show called? Dynamite?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's how it tends to be,
Yeah, it was an overhyped Dynamite. Particularly considering it was filmed on a Friday night as well. Just putting that out there. And it did, and that was the one thing that really shocked me is that it wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was a pay-per-view. But they recorded it on a Friday and it went out live on a Saturday, so the results had already leaked. That was the one part I didn't understand with all that. I get that it was recorded in Australia, but just announce to the rest of the world it's the day before. You know what I mean? WWE did it with when they did Chamber last year with in Perth. You know, it's not hard. And actually, to be fair, you would have got more viewers over here in the UK, Tony, because it would have been on around about 8 o'clock in the morning. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird one last year, Elimination Chamber. Well, what time's it on? Starts at 8:30 in the morning, finishes around about 12:30 noon ish. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I could do that, and then I'll go to the pub around about 3. That was a really good day. That was, if only pay-per-views could be like that all the time. You know, on a Saturday in the morning, we'll watch them, and then we'll go down the pub. That's the British way. But no, from what I heard, it was good. But again, I don't think it went over as well as they wanted it to. But you know, they've already announced that they're going back, so fair play to them. You say that, but there's been quite a lot of times that I've heard at the moment that both WWE and AEW are signing these big contracts with certain countries, states, whatever you want to call it, depending on what the event is, to have so many events annually. And they've signed like a contract deal with them. I think that was the same thing with where's SummerSlam this year, Callum?
Canada, isn't it?
Is it Canada?
No, that doesn't.
It's somewhere basically they announced it last year because it's the first one that's gonna have oh bloody hell, what's it called? Um 2 nights. And oh it's New Orleans, isn't it? Because they've also rumored to be hosting WrestleMania 42 next year. Is it Minneapolis? No, that was last year. I'm getting so, and I'm making myself look like an idiot, so I'm not even going to try and guess them anymore. Look, we apologise, America. You've got 50 states. We've got 4 different parts of the UK: England, Wales, Northern Ireland, Ireland, Scotland. There you go. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Um, Going back to everything else, what should we talk about now? Oh yeah, that's it. Elimination Chamber. Bit surprised by the way it's gone. The matches leading up to this. Not that I'm surprised by the people that have won, but by the people that haven't actually had matches. If you know what I mean. I was very shocked that Logan Paul's match was against Rey Mysterio. I said that last week. Thought it was a brilliant match. But you know, I digress. The one that I was shocked that won was Damian Priest, but you know, fair play. Maybe that's how they're going to set up what they originally planned with Drew McIntyre. I don't know. And the last place went to Seth Rollins, but again, they gave it to him against Finn Balor. And with the way the Judgment Day is at the moment, I was very surprised they didn't want to put 2 members of them in there. You know, because that would have been quite good. I honestly, I would take out Logan Paul or Damian Priest and replace them with Finn Balor. But again, you can't take out Seth Rollins or CM Punk or Drew McIntyre or John Cena because of what they've done. Another one was no Roman at all. But knowing him doesn't mean he necessarily won't be involved. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a setup and he, you know, does something to Damian Priest the night before and he takes his place. Something like that. But Callum, what do you think of the lineup for Elimination Chamber this year? Particularly the men's.
I think it's good, and I feel like, you know, I think we all sort of know where they'll probably head with the winner, but
But
how
do
they've been
we?
recently. Yeah, exactly. Do we?
I
Because
mean, I think
WWE have
that
been
there's now.
very weird lately.
I think earlier in the month we said there was 5 contenders. I think that's been shot down to 3 now. And I think they're pretty obvious, the 3. Um, uh, But in terms of who's in it, were you shocked by any of the winners? Were you shocked by any of the people that didn't even get a match? Another part of this.
Mm, I actually thought maybe Penta might have been part of it.
I did as well. That was one of the names I thought was going to be part of it.
He would have been interesting.
It would have been really interesting. I would have given Penta's place to Damian Priest. But I would have given Finn Balor's praise if it was just going to be one member of the Judgment Day. Again, I feel like I'm not being horrible, but I feel like Damien's literally got that shot just because they have kind of like realized that, right, we need to start setting up these storylines. Let's have him and Drew have something go down at Elimination Chamber. Also, the other one was, how is LA Knight not in there? What the hell's going on with him, considering what happened at the Rumble? They started building on that story, and then that's just okay, we're going to talk about it for 2 weeks and then dead. Okay, all right, fine. No, and also no members of the bloodline. Again,
It'll make the change.
quite shocking by that. There's no Jimmy Uso. There's no Solo Sikoa. Who's the other one that I'm always forgetting? Come on, Callum, help me out here.
I can't think. Man, you probably know more than I do for this week.
You got Tamatonga, Tongaloa, and who's the other one? Oh, Jacob Fatu. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I was surprised they didn't go for someone like Solo or Jacob. I mean, again, as I said, I think that Roman could still be involved in some way. I mean, come on, he's got to be. Or you know, you can't have WrestleMania without Roman now. You can't. Not until he said he's done. And I don't believe the injury's real. No one's confirmed that it's actually real. Everyone said it's part of a storyline. So something he's clearly going to go out on. But I don't know. I mean, I was saying that, yet I saw on Instagram today, Rock's working out in the gym quite a bit again. Is he?
But then again, doesn't he always?
Is he slowly building himself up to be prepared for Mania without it leaking?
Doesn't he always do that?
No, I know, but he don't always post as much as he has been. He usually does it on a couple of days of the week. This has been quite consistent at the moment. So I don't know. I really don't. But before we go to the next part of the show, just want to ask you really quickly, Callum. Out of the ones that we know, I'll go through them again for you, just so we've got the list. I'll put the poster right up here for the men's Royal Rumble, so everyone can see. So in case if you are just listening, you're not watching it on the poster. If you don't know so far, I've said every name, but actually, I haven't. Have I? No, I haven't. We've got Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, CM Punk, Seth frickin' Rollins, and John Cena. Now, I think there's an obvious three, but Callum, out of them, who do you think is the most likely to win at the moment?
It's got to be John Cena, isn't it?
It's got to be. It's got to be. I mean, a lot of people are saying that it could be Punk. Now, I think they could make that make sense and be really, really good. Problem is, I don't think they've got time to build it the way they want to. I think they've realised they kind of missed the mark with Seth and CM Punk because they did it on the first night of Raw. And you can't really rehash a match that could potentially be that big happen again that quickly. If that's going to happen again within the next year, don't touch that storyline until at least after Money in the Bank with SummerSlam coming up. You want time to build that story. Because they really did. I know people saying, but it was built for years and stuff like that. Yeah, but you need to grind that story back into people's heads, remind them why it's so important, and then start adding more layers to it. That's what makes wrestling wrestling. Wrestling isn't two blokes fighting each other. It's a genuine storyline that makes me actually want to go, I know it's fake, I know it's not real, but I genuinely want to see this just to see how good they are in the ring together. That is the point of it to me. And I think with people like Seth Rollins and CM Punk, who are, well, Seth Rollins has always been in my top 3 of all time. Currently, I think CM Punk's easily in my top 5 as well. When you've got people that good, you've got to, you've got to go for it. but you've got to give it time to build up, like really, really build up. Like, so people are like, no, I need to see this. So I think it will either be John Cena, who I would like it to be, but I think at the moment it's now a bit too obvious. CM Punk, I think, is a possibility, but to be honest, I actually think Seth Rollins has got a chance now. I don't think Drew has, just because I'm saying that, and look at Royal Rumble, but I don't think Drew had, and the reason why I've already stated it, I don't think Damien would have won his match if it wasn't to set that up. Because let's be honest, they could easily build a storyline with him against Finn Balor, him against oh my god, Dominic Mysterio, him against JD McDonough, him against Carlito. They could build him. Damian Priest is a fantastic wrestler and a fantastic storyteller. I think he really got to shine during the last year and a half with the Money in the Bank storyline and having the title, and he really proved how good he can be as a title holder. I was really, really surprised by how good he was. I knew he'd be good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. But he's, he could be thrown into any of their matches that I've just said, Callum, and people would go, no, that makes sense. I don't think he needs the chamber this year. Or is that just me? I don't know.
It could be the exciting thing again, just like the Rumble. I mean, went the completely other direction, but
don't say that, because then someone like Logan Paul's going to freaking win the thing.
No, I think they'll be a crowd pleaser. I think it will be the relevant person. I don't think they can do that twice in a row, because people were not thinking Jay was going to win it. Jay will probably beat Gunther at WrestleMania, I imagine.
Here's my thing with the whole Jay thing. Do you think that if Jay won Mania, do you think two options here? One, he will carry the title for over a year and it will be really good, but after a while it will get a bit stale, a little bit like what's happened to Cody this year? Or do you think he will be given the title, but he won't even hold it on it for that long? He will have it till the longest amount of time, probably SummerSlam, but he will probably be one of those people that gets cashed in on and won't have it for any more longer than that. Because honestly, I think it'll be one of them too. Tell me what you think. Put your comments below. Send in your answers. And I'm going to ask for Callum's answer on that after this little message. We just want to take this time to thank our sponsors, WrestleCrate UK, for sponsoring our podcast. WrestleCrate is the #1 subscription box for wrestling fans across the United Kingdom and I believe across Europe. You can subscribe online at wrestlecrate.co.uk, where you can sign up for their monthly box, which you will get a guaranteed t-shirt in and at least one guaranteed autograph. They announced that the autograph for April's box will be the one and only R-rated superstar, Edge. A brilliant autograph to add to your collection. Go to wrestlecrate.co.uk right now and sign up for that box to get Edge as your first autograph. And if you use promo code BTTC, you will get a free box included with your first box of all other really cool goodies. Now, and the best thing is, these 8x4s are actually unique. They are the only place you will get that particular photo signed. As I said, you could also get t-shirts. They do amazing pins. You get a free interview every month that you can watch online on your phone. Guys, go and check them out. WrestleCrate.co.uk. And remember to use that code BTTC. Welcome back to Before the Free Count here. And I was asking a question before the break there. And the question is, what do you think is going to happen to Jey Uso after WrestleMania? I think it's obvious he's going to win it. But the question was the following. Do you think, A, he's going to keep the title for the entire year, but it will be good, but it'll get a little bit boring and a little bit stale, a bit like what's happened with Cody Rhodes this year? Or do you, B, think he's going to win it and then only hold it for like 4, 5 months, maybe 6, up to something like SummerSlam, and will be the guaranteed person that gets cashed in on this year So he's kind of held it for the sake of passing it on. Callum, I asked you that before the break. What do you think's going to happen?
What I think's going to happen is, so I don't know why I did that in an American accent.
Yeah, I was going to say, where'd that come from?
I think Jey Uso will hold the title for a maximum of 6 months. I think Jacob Fatu is going to win the Money in the Bank, and he's going to be the one to cash it in and win the World Heavyweight Championship. That's my theory. That's my theory.
See, that's really good. That's a really good idea. The only thing that I've got at the moment, and the reason why I keep on thinking to myself, yeah, but is he? Is with John Cena, and this is with him winning the title. I don't think he's going to win the title until like his second or last event. So I think he might win the Elimination Chamber, but he ain't going to win at Mania. Or he will win at Mania, but lose it later on and have to defend it throughout the rest of the year. The reason why I say that is because when he announced his retirement, he said every major pay-per-view will be the last one he's in. He said Royal Rumble will be the last one I'm in. The Elimination Chamber will be the last one I'm in. WrestleMania in Vegas will be the last WrestleMania I compete in. And I believe he also said Money in the Bank was the last one. So if that's true, and this is all, the whole John Cena storyline for this year has been planned for the last 2 years, from what I've heard. Because I had to get it right, make sure he was happy with it, make sure they were happy with it, and make sure they could fit it in any year. And two, give him a year's notice to be able to sort out his, movie deals, TV deals, all them kind of stuff. You've got to remember, he's a busy guy. He's a really busy guy. He's got Peacemaker, he's got the Fast and Furious franchise, he's got other comedies that he does. He does voices in animation now. And then he's got wrestling as well. And he's a really, really busy guy. So to put aside an entire year's schedule, a lot of this had to be planned. And that's why I think that John Cena could still be one of the people that he could win Elimination Chamber, but I don't. It's such a weird thing because where it's his last ride, he's going to try and you don't know he is going to do every major pay-per-view in the biggest spot that he can. So he was in the Royal Rumble at the Royal Rumble. He's in the Elimination Chamber at the Elimination Chamber. Will he headline WrestleMania for his last WrestleMania? Maybe he will. Money in the Bank, though. Is he going to be in that match as well?
Enlighten me, Charlie. What is John Cena's tagline? Tell me.
Never give up. That's my point. That's exactly what my point is.
I think he, you say the storyline's been planned for 2 years. They understand this. I think actually he's not going to win the Elimination Chamber. And I think that's the whole point, never give up. It's to set an example to people and young kids watching WWE that you can lose. You can lose again. But it's not how hard
he's
you
done
get
that
here.
storyline so many times, and I'm not saying I don't love it. That's what's brilliant about John Cena. I mean, look at what they did when they made him the showcase for 2K 2 years ago. It was the most genius thing I've ever seen. You had to lose every match as him because he doesn't give up. How clever is that?
Yeah. Wasn't it all the matches he lost?
It was all the matches he lost. There was not one match in there that he actually won. Every single match in his showcase were matches that he lost, which I thought was mighty impressive and bold to do. Like, fair enough, they could only do that with John Cena because of the tagline. But, that's kind of like that's a dangerous, decision to make. Imagine if the showcase is going to be a loss for every single match. But you're not losing, you're winning. You're just not actually playing as the person in the showcase, which is really clever. Also, one thing about 2K really quickly, I don't know if you've heard about this, but in the Bloodline storyline this year, you're actually going to have for the first time ever the option to change what happened. So it will actually, for the first time ever, have replayability reasons, apart from to go back and unlock them things that you won't go and use anyway. So, like, you could actually go back and play WrestleMania 40 last year and have Roman win it. Or, you could have him lose the title halfway through his run. like to say to someone like Drew McIntyre. That's the first one that came to the top of my head. Okay, I'm just saying. Um, and see what would happen that way, which
That'd
I
be
think is a
interesting.
really interesting thing for them to do.
That would be interesting.
But yes, right. Going back to our very quick discussion on Elimination Chamber, we've got to talk about the women's match now. Because that's all wrapped up. Every match, contender match, should I say, is wrapped up. Both sides, men's and women's. We just spoke about the men's. Let's speak about the women's, Callum. So just to remind you, the poster's going to appear on screen now. There you go. And as you can see, you've got going from this side to that side and then down to that side. We've got Lyra Valkyria, then Bailey, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Bianca Belair. Now, very interesting lineup, I think there, Callum.
It is a good lineup. You know, hmm, who who's screaming out to you as the winner there?
To me, there's right. So here's the way I'm looking at it. Bailey's not going to win because she won the Royal Rumble last year. It's not going to happen. Lyra Valkyria, I don't think is ready to main event. I think in a year or two's time could happen, genuinely. But think Lyra Valkyria is more of one of those people that if we were betting on anything, I'd put her forward to like win the money in the bank. Not saying she's doing it, not saying she's going to win it. I'm just saying in terms of like looking at this match particularly and who's in it. Naomi, I would really like to see her do it, but where she's got the tag team championship, the only person to me that it would make sense for her to actually fight would be Bianca Belair and vice versa. And that's not going to happen because they're both in the match. Liv Morgan, I think, is the only other one that I think is a possible winner. But again, are we really going to have it? So it's Liv versus Rhea at WrestleMania. Be brilliant. But haven't we done that twice already this year? The one that I think it should be is Alexa Bliss. She's just come back. She's had the history. She's had big title opportunities before, but she's never main evented. If you take all them things into consideration, I think the winner should be Alexa Bliss. That's my humble opinion. Callum?
I think Alexa Bliss should also be the winner, without question.
I think there's a lot that would make sense with her. You could do a Wyatt Six story with her. You could do it as a tribute to Bray. I also think that Rhea versus Alexa Bliss would be absolutely brilliant. I think the storyline would be fantastic. I think there's a lot of places they could go. I think Alexa deserves a championship run. Because it's been a long time since she's held the championship. And I'm not just talking about since she's had the time off for the baby. She hasn't held a championship, I think, for nearly 3 or 4 years. Might even be longer than that. I'm being deadly serious. Because I don't think she even held a championship at WrestleMania 37. And then 38, I know she definitely didn't. 39, she weren't there because she had the baby. 40, weren't there, had the baby. And then 41 this year. I think it's time for Alexa Bliss to have another title run. And I think it's time for her to headline a WrestleMania. Where would you go with that storyline, though? Because I think there's so many opportunities there.
Yeah, there is, and I just think she should be, and why not be the obvious winner there? I think it makes complete sense. I think she should be.
And again, the only other person that would make sense, I think, on that lineup is Liv. But do they do it? Do they make the whole Liv Morgan world tour end with her at WrestleMania winning back the championship? Could happen. Would make sense. Would also make a lot of people excited. But the thing is, I'm going to have to look up in a minute. Can you just talk for a few minutes? Because I'm going to look up right now how many times them two have fighted in the last year. Pay-per-view, that is. They've had 4 singles matches. They've had five actually. The fifth one was at Bad Blood. So they've done this five times. Fair enough, it's probably not five times in the last year, but I guarantee you at least two, maybe possibly three of them with Liv versus Rhea have happened um in the last year. But five times they fight it before. It's the same kind of thing that if they went Charlotte versus Rhea again at WrestleMania, which they didn't, they don't want to it's a great idea, fantastic match, brilliant storyline, but things like that got to build them up. It's what I said earlier with the CM Punk Seth thing. Got to build stuff like that up. I don't think they've got enough time to build it up. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it'll be good. But I don't think that. I mean, you could argue the fact that it's been building up for over a year. Yeah, but come on, they had the fight in, was it November, October, Bad Blood? Only 4 months ago. I know it seems like a lifetime ago, but it genuinely was only about 4 months ago. I think it is usually around about Halloween half term time, October, Bad Blood or Extreme or Survivor Series or whatever whatever they're doing this year. So it was only 4 months ago, So yes and no is basically my answer to that on the whole thing. But yeah, any more predictions for WrestleMania? I know we're gonna have a fight against KO and Sami Zayn, which I think will be really cool. Personally, think this is going to be
Apparently, they've been teasing that Karrion Kross will be going against.
Oh, that would be cool. Are we finally going to get Karrion Kross versus The Miz at some point?
Maybe. Maybe. I think we're gonna.
That storyline is like it was good, then it was all right, and then it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's still going on, isn't it? It was like that thing a few years ago they did with The Miz with what's his name? He's in the Wyatt Six now. And he kept on appearing in his house and stuff like that, following him. Never said a word. Oh, what's his name?
Oh, Dexter Lumis.
That's it. You remember a few years ago they were doing that, and it was like, oh, this could be really good, and then it just died all of a sudden. That could be good, but again, I just feel like I love the Miz, but I just feel like at the moment the last few years especially, he's just been given. We've got a really good storyline for you. Yeah, okay, right. Gonna build it up for a few months so you get a really good match. Okay, yeah, 2.5 months down the line. Yeah, we're gonna close this out. It's not going down as well. Okay. I think the last match, and I'm being serious, I think the last match I saw Miz fight at a pay-per-view, like a proper one. Oh, wait, no, he did WrestleMania. He won with R-Truth last year at WrestleMania. I completely forgot about that. Completely forgot about that. I was going to say the only other storyline that I can remember him having where he had a main event was at SummerSlam 2022. And that was 3 years ago. So, yeah, I completely forgot about that. R-Truth and The Miz. And didn't they have that was it. That John Cena come out on Monday night, the Monday night after WrestleMania. And they did the You Can't See Me against Finn, Damien, and I think JD McDonough. I was thinking about Damien. But yeah, that was a cool Monday night night after WrestleMania moment that was. And we're gonna be there this year for all them kind of moments.
Which is crazy.
Do you know what unless if something happens in the next, and I think it will have to be within the next 2 weeks, because if not, it won't make sense. And if it doesn't happen in the next 2 weeks, it's gonna happen at the Monday night after WrestleMania. Genuinely. My prediction.
Go on.
Becky Lynch's return. Now, I say that with hesitance because I still think there's a chance she might return before Mania. But it's getting like really close to that timeline where you got to focus on these stories so much that they're just not going to have the airtime to do it. It's got to be this week or the week after the Elimination Chamber, Well, that's it. It's, because after that, it's right, 6 weeks, build it as high as it can go. And then it would only make sense for her to come back the night after, which would be cool. Be really cool.
I think Becky Lynch, uh, yeah, she's due a return. Let's have some new music. Let's have some new
Oh
music.
no, you can't get rid of that one. I love her music.
I don't.
Her music's classic. Whoa, whoa. That little guitar solo. Down, 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 down. Yeah. Anyway, just before we wrap up today, we've got little bit of exciting news going on, believe it or not, at NXT at the moment, Callum. So
Yeah, NXT is really heating up, isn't it?
NXT's been fantastic lately. If you haven't watched Stand and Deliver, go and watch it. It was brilliant. One of the best faction I was gonna say reveals, but it's not called reveals. What's it called? And just to finish off there this week, we were talking about NXT. Let's have a look. So NXT's been really building up the heat lately, hasn't it, Callum?
It has. It's been looking great. I mean, from what I've seen, looks really, really cool.
Stand and Deliver this Saturday. Thought was absolutely brilliant. We had the debut of a new faction. I think this is the best debut I've seen probably since the Shield. Don't know who they were. Don't know where they came from. Just jumped out of nowhere, destroyed everyone in the ring within 40 seconds, and they were out of there. No names, no titles, nothing. Just that. Thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Omar Femi is still your NXT World Championship holder, should I say. And there were some other brilliant matches, but another thing I want to talk about is next Tuesday. Tell the people why they should tune in next Tuesday, Callum, to NXT.
Well, we have a certain Hardy Boyzs turning up, right?
Yeah, we do. The Hardy Boyzs make their WWE return next Tuesday on NXT. You are not going to want to miss this.
Well, I think you mentioned the fact that they're returning, right?
Yeah, they're definitely returning on Tuesday.
So, do you think that's to do with the Hall of Fame?
Got to be. It's the time of the year. It's the week before Elimination Chamber. Get the hype for that built up as well. They announced Michelle McCall last week. I think they announced her on Wednesday before we got the podcast out. So apologise if we didn't jump on that, which I thought was pretty cool. Good lineup so far. Triple H, Michelle McCall, and by the looks of it, we're going to be adding the Hardy Boyz pretty soon. The reason why I say that is because they left a few years ago, and one of the last things they were offered was a Legends contract and Hall of Fame. They didn't take it. This was when Vince was in charge. I think this was around about 2019, 2018, something like that. I know Jeff held on for a bit longer, but it was the double contract thing. They couldn't get them both over the line. There is a podcast out there. I need to find it to show people the evidence so people believe me. But no, I think they're going in Hall of Fame, which is about bloody time. Legend. And then, after that, you know what that means? All three tag teams from the first TLC matches are in the Hall of Fame. Fair play to them.
Fair play to them. They all deserve it. Maybe just
100%.
for that one match.
Yeah. I think TLC 2 was the best, my opinion. That shot between Jeff hanging on to the belts and Edge just jumping on him to pull him down. That was just, you're never going to see any. There's moments in wrestling that you're not going to ever see again, purely for two reasons. One, it was such a shock, so it won't be as much of a shock. And two, they just wouldn't get away with it now because of they did it and then they never really did anything like that kind of stuff again because It's too dangerous. You can't do that. Like, fair enough, it's wrestling, it's physical entertainment, all that stuff. But they're taking real risks when they're in that ring, and TLC matches especially are really, really, they're really risky matches. You can't fake going through a table. Yeah, it's a thinner table. It's still gonna hurt. You can't fake a chair going over your back. Yeah, it's only the back of the chair and it's not over the head anymore, but it's still a metal chair. It's gonna hurt. And jumping off a ladder and landing on something, it's gonna hurt. Okay. Reason why you don't see a lot of Hell in the Cell matches anymore these days, guys. Same kind of thing. Same kind of things why you don't see moments where what's his name? Um uh what's Vince McMahon's son called? Shane. You don't see moments where someone like Shane McMahon jumps off a 40-foot barrage of just lighting equipment and all that onto complete flat floor. You're not going to see it happen again. It's too dangerous. These guys deserve it. Just think it's absolutely brilliant. I'd really, really like to hope that this time we speak next week, that it's been announced that the Hardys are in there. Don't you agree?
I think that'll be the case, mate.
Yeah. Okay, guys, but on that, that's it. And we got one little thing to say just before we go today. Next week there will not be a podcast on the Friday for you guys. I know, shocking. But that is because next week is Elimination Chamber. And what we thought we'd do that's a bit different is we are going to either record our reaction to Elimination Chamber as it happens, or record our reactions the day after. So therefore it will come out on the Sunday or the Monday of the following week. I think it will be probably the first option where we just record our reactions live and you will just get a straight, clear reaction to us watching it and, hearing us react to it. But you never know. We might change our minds. You never know. Callum, thank you as always for joining me yet again.
Absolutely, mate. Always a pleasure.
And thank you to everyone listening. This has been Before the Free Count. See you next time.
See you next time.